One of the most common questions I receive is, Javier, do you have any good videos on how to find the right realtor? And I made a video like years ago about like the questions to ask somebody, but honestly, I have quite controversial opinions about this because I am an agent and it's very easy for me to say work with someone like me or work with me. But to be quite frank with you, I am not the best agent sometimes. So I have to kind of expose myself a bit to talk about this topic. But in exposing myself, I hope that I can teach you guys a thing or two about hiring the best agent and what are some practices I would personally do if I were in your shoes and I had no previous experience of real estate whatsoever. So first and foremost, let's establish what I've seen the timeline of real estate agents are. Okay, so it all begins with the baby agent, right? You get out of your real estate school and you don't know what you're doing, you're very unskilled, you're unexperienced, you have no idea what's going on. After a few years, you can get pretty well where you've done not only just a few transactions under your belt, but you've experienced some terrible things, some great things. And, after maybe a few years, and I would say maybe 30, 50 closings, you probably have seen everything there is to see, or at least the majority of it, and you're probably a pretty awesome agent. Now, here's the thing about people that you guys need to know. The things that make an agent amazing, like being available to show houses at a moment's notice, being experienced and educated and have the time and patience to educate you, being there for whatever you need, whether it's a phone call or go show you the house, whatever the case may be. And more importantly, they have your back like 24/7. They're on this deal like it's their own deal and you're being taken care of. These skills are amazing for an agent to have, but they're not scalable. Meaning that an agent can have these things and be on their own with maybe some help, but they're never going to get to the massive levels of like hundreds of transactions a month just on their own. Well, maybe it's possible, but you would have to literally sacrifice your entire personal life. Think about it. If you have one client, say you are looking for a house and you're looking like, 2 or 3 times a weekend. Okay, now put that with 2 clients. Okay, now you have to kind of plan your weekend out for those 2 clients. Well, now what do you have 10 clients? You have to literally tell people, I can't show you this day. I can't show you until this day. And you're not serving people at the highest level at that point, right? So they eventually have to scale and they have to get rid of some of these roles and delegate them to other people. So then our second phase of real estate agency you can hire is a real estate team. Now, in my opinion, there's different levels of a team. The beginning team being, hey, I'm working for the Joe Jonas team. And even though Joe Jonas isn't showing me the house, I'm talking and I have a direct line of communication to Joe Jonas, and he or she is the one directly seeing everything. And then there's the big giant teams where you are with the Nick Jonas team, and the Nick Jonas team, even though you're helping someone on their team, his team is helping you, you never have spoken with Nick Jonas, and like that is just a name on the contract for all you know. You have no idea. They don't know who you are. Likewise, you don't know who they are, right? So those are like the basic broken down principles of what agent can be. Now, of course, there's plenty of things in the middle, or some can be a combination of both, but that's my experience, what I've seen. Now, in my opinion, the best agent you can find is not going to be in the team phase. It's going to be someone who's going to be on the side of the more experienced route, but who is not very busy at the moment. What do I mean by that? Have you ever heard of people, or maybe you've experienced this, where your friend says, I have this agent, she's amazing, she was freaking, dude, she took care of me every step of the way, she's just amazing and she got me a great deal. Holy crap, do not look for any other agent except her. You call her and you're just like, what? Like she doesn't return your call after a few days, and she's always late to the showings, and she doesn't really get you the best deal. You're just like, why am I getting a completely different experience? Well, does it mean she's a bad agent? Not necessarily, because what happens is you can get somebody who can give people a lot of great experiences, but if you catch them at the wrong part of the year or the wrong part of their life, you might get a really subpar experience. So in my opinion, the best experience that you could potentially have is going to be a solo agent with a lot of experience and know-how, but who is not very busy at the moment, right? They're not juggling 5 or 6 clients at the moment. They have like a few, and they have some availability to give you a lot of time, but you get someone that's going to take care of you because they know what they're doing, and you actually get to get their full time. Now, this is the perfect scenario. And I acknowledge that's no longer me, which is why it was so hard for me to make this video. But honestly, that's the best part of it. And the thing is that this person who is at this level, and it's literally like the thing that makes you good is what's going to make you not good, because you're so good that people will recommend and refer you, that you'll get to the point where you're too busy and you can no longer continue to give that quality service. So then this person usually ends up having to become a small team of some sorts, and they kind of lose that. So you might catch a real estate agent in the right part of their career when they still haven't really moved on to that team level, and you're going to find, boom, this is just like the perfect person that I want to work with. So now, that being said, you're not going to talk to an agent and be like, yo, what part of your career are you in? So I'm going to give you some general tips and just advice and strategies that I would personally use to kind of find a good agent. So how do you find the right agent, and what questions do you ask them, or how do you kind of figure out where they are? Well, first and foremost, an agent has two main jobs, okay? So me here, we're talking to me now. Let's say you visualize me as the agent. I have two jobs. I have to help my people, my clients, buy a home or sell their home. Like, so the actual service part of things, which that in its own is a whole different thing, right? And then I have to market myself to be able to get clients. So you essentially wear two hats, and both of those hats have an incredible amount of responsibility. So you can't just judge somebody, or, off the merits of one of their roles. So you could find somebody who has an amazing marketing presence. They have amazing social media. They have all the right hashtags and posts, and they have the great referral network and program and everything. Like they write letters and notes to all their past clients, but then you meet them and their service absolutely is trash. Right? There's no guarantee that the marketing will carry on to that one. And I can tell you this because in the business, I always see the same names of the same people who have a lot of listings and get a lot of clientele, and they're always at the top of the list. But whenever you work a deal with them, they're just like horrible. You're just like gritting your teeth, like, no, please don't tell me it's them, because they're terrible. They don't answer their phone. They're like, how are you still have your license? You don't even take care of your clients. But the thing is they're amazing at the marketing, and their clients might not be getting a great experience. And you would think that would catch up with them eventually, but the reality is there's so many people looking to buy houses that eventually, people will forget, and they just keep marketing themselves on a great level, and that the cycle continues. Likewise, you can find an agent that has terrible marketing. Their social media is just them and their kids and going to the baseball game and stuff like that, but they can be the best agent that will service you at the highest level. It's crazy to sound, but the best agent are the ones you've never heard of. I know an agent that comes to mind that is like an older gentleman that I used to, work with, 4 or 5 years ago when I used to be part of a big brokerage. And he was just amazing with his clients. He would always take care of them. And I did a deal with him recently, and I was like, man, this guy's a really good agent. But then his online presence is like, you can't find him. So the best agent is out there, and you probably will never hear of him or her because of the lack of marketing. So what's the best thing you can do for someone who's completely in the empty? Well, there's two recommendations off just the cuff. First one is ask your friends or family members for a referral. Who did they use recently, and what do you think? Now, when you have these conversations with these agents, don't just automatically be like, yeah, I'm going to work with you because you help my mom or you help my cousin. No, it's an interview. You call them and just kind of feel them out, see what their situation is. But odds are, if there's someone that you really highly respect and they can honestly trust this person to say, hey, you should check them out, it's worth at least a phone call, check out just to see how they are. Now, remember, if you call and they don't answer, or they don't call you back till the next day, that might not be the best fit for you. And yes, I'm shooting myself in the foot here. I've had that happen. Sometimes people call me, I don't return the call the next day. Hey, they found another agent. It is what it is. Sometimes the most amazing agents might not be in the right time, or maybe they're super busy and they're not ready. They're not the right person to help you at that moment. They could be great agents, but at that specific moment, they might not be the best. So call them, interview them, get a feel for them, and see how they are. Okay. So the first one is definitely ask for your friends, families for referrals and whatnot. The second thing I recommend you do is go on the social media, whatever your social media choice is. If you are, the word boomer now is like offensive. So I don't mean offense with this, but let's face it, Facebook is for the señoras and the señoras and the uncles and the aunts now, right? It's, you 40 plus years old have taken that over. So if that's your vibe, go on Facebook and see if you can find an agent that you like there that's your similar vibe. If you're on Instagram, like us millennials, and millennials used to be a young term, but millennials aren't young no more. We're like women and men in their late 20s and 30s who are grumpy. So them, my thing is Instagram, right? So look and see if you find some agents in your area, or maybe they're using the hashtags or whatever the case may be, or maybe a friend tagged them, I don't know, and just start following a bunch of them and see what you like and you don't like about them. Likewise, younger generation, TikTok or whatever the heck you guys are using, there's realtors on all those platforms. Now, should you automatically work with them? No, you should definitely follow them and just start kind of researching, which is why I recommend you never just start, hiring in like really late, like in a hurry. You want to make sure you take your time, maybe email them, maybe, DM them, maybe just follow them just to kind of observe and see what their trends are. And sometimes you'll be lucky and you'll find someone who's great at marketing and is also great at service. And at that point, you got yourself a good candidate. But that's one option you can take for sure. And the last but not least is using some kind of referral service. So, you could be moving to a different state and your job might offer some kind of relocation service. That's a good way to find an agent. You might have a bank that might have an agent referral service. You might have a social media person or a YouTuber who has an agent referral service. homeandmind.com/Javier. Check it out. National referral service. We can connect you with a great agent, and our team will follow up with you and the agent to make sure you get taken care of. I know I'm such a sellout, I'm sorry, but that is definitely an option for you to throw in there, to throw an agent in the hat to get an idea, because odds are if these agents are part of a referral service, not only are they responsible for you to give you a good experience, their livelihood is sometimes dependent on these referral services. So they have to treat you amazing so they can continue to receive more referrals from this referral service. That can also not maybe be a service, but that could also be like, hey, maybe you have an agent in your state and you're looking to buy in a different state. And you're just like, hey, agent, do you know somebody in Arizona, right? You have to call them out though. Sometimes they don't know and they're just going to randomly find someone in their brokerage and throw you at them. No, like, do you absolutely know somebody in Phoenix that you like? Do you know them? Like, if you don't know them, don't refer them to me. Do you know these people? And then maybe consider them. But with those three options, you should really start getting some good idea of what and how to find the right real estate agent. And when you do find those agents, you don't want to just work with the first one. You actually want to make sure to interview them. A lot of times agents, especially like if you're at an open house, and you just work with the agent just automatically, you're just, okay, this is the agent I want to work with and that's it, but when you're selling your house, you interview like 2 or 3 agents to make sure that the right person does the right job. Well, if the agents are getting paid about the same, don't you think that you should put the same amount of effort to hiring them, right? So I'm not saying, bring them into your office and it's like, okay, what are some things you like about yourself? But just having a conversation with them on their virtual appointments or a phone call or something, just to kind of get a feel for them. A lot of times people are scared to make an appointment with agents because they feel like they're going to be pushy. But guess what? Then that shows you that they're not the right agent for you if they're being pushy, right? By you getting the power back and saying, I am interviewing you, and they decide to be pushy, well, you're not going to get pushed because they failed your test, right? So take the power back and actually interview people. Don't be afraid when you're talking with these agents saying, hey, I'm still going to go talk to a few other agents. That's it. Even if the agent you just talked to, for sure, he or she is the one that you want to work with. And this is like, I love this person, I'm going to work with them. Don't ever just say, hey, you got it. No, it's like, hey, well, I'm going to go talk to a few other agents. I'll text you by the end of the week and see who I decide to go with. Just leave them open just like that. And they should welcome the challenge. Some questions you can ask when you're interviewing them is not only like how many, what experience do you have? How many houses do you sell? How long have you been doing this for, all those questions, but, just how are you right now? Like, how busy are you? If there was a balance from work and home life, like how are you balanced right now? Are you focused more on work? Are you most focused on personal life? Is there something major events happening in your life? Just really get to know the whole picture because you're hiring the person. You're not hiring their work ethic. And if agents don't believe, I had somebody give me a really nasty comment once because I said that, and honestly, that's what it is. I mean, you're hiring someone's baggage. You're not just hiring they could be amazing agents, but if they're going through a messy breakup or divorce, they're not going to be the best agent for you, right? Or maybe they're going through a hard time right now because someone was diagnosed with something or something. I don't know. You want to make sure just to get these general feel for these questions. And yes, it's a little weird, but if you're really asking me for my opinion on who's the best agent you can find, is someone who is in a right headspace and has the right tool set, like the right skill set. It's not always the most amazing person with the most amazing reviews who all your friends love, because what if that person's not going through the right time? Maybe it's somebody who, yes, they have the right skill set, maybe not as amazingly experienced, but they have experience, but at that time they happen to have not that many clients, or they're super hyper focused on improving their client services at that moment, and they're going to be perfect for you. So really ask all these questions, guys. And of course, like I said, if you ever want an agent referral, you can always use my service, homemoney.com/Javier. Great partner. They've helped a lot of, probably, I think almost up to 1,000 people now by this point. So if you want to check out, you want an agent to throw in your like interviewers or realtors to interview in the new year, check them out. Hopefully that helped, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd always check out my comments. I do have them off because they get a little negative sometimes. So I go in there once in a while to kind of just review them. So, if you have a question for me, I'll try to answer it. Everyone else, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Have a good day.